Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and sports topics related. I am your host, Bronco Bill. All right, guys, let's get into the first topic. This one is involving Mark Rypien. Now, former Washington quarterback Mark Rypien is being sued by his longtime partner and former wife, Danielle Wade, for physical and emotional abuse. The allegations cover a span from 2008 to 2020. Rypien admitted pushing, shoving, and punching Wade. Rypien also believes he has CTE. However, that can only be diagnosed after death. You know, I've said this many, many times, and I'm going to say it until it stops. I don't know what gets into the guys. Okay, I understand. CTE is a very, very serious brain disorder caused by traumatic hits to the head and that kind of thing. Like football, obviously, quarterback being sacked, hit your head on the turf, maybe onto a player's knee or shoulder, whatever. That happens over and over and over in a career of an athlete. I understand that. It is very serious. What I don't understand, though, is and we won't know until if and when they ever do a diagnostic test on him after he passes away. But the thing is, it happens way too often where these athletes, they abuse their wives, they abuse their girlfriends, they get in trouble with the law. They do things that, in my opinion, they feel above the law. And that bothers me. I don't know what this lawsuit's going to entitle. I don't know if it's going to be dropped. I don't know if it's going to be settled out of court. But the reason why I brought this first and foremost is I always felt Mark Rypien was a very, very upstanding person. His son is on the member of the Denver Broncos. And so I don't understand, the family. Like I said, they seemed like a very, very upstanding family person. Obviously, that's the only side I see. I don't see the behind the doors kind of thing. I wish Mark Rypien all the best. I'm sorry he's going through this. Maybe there is something to that CTE that he feels he may have. I don't know if that's an excuse. It shouldn't be. But he did admit to pushing, shoving, and punching her. Mark, you got to be better than that, man. You got to be better than that. And it goes back to 2008. Wow. 12 years? This is not just a one-time thing, guys. This is an ongoing situation. And to me, it's very, very sad. All right. Let's go to Romeo Crennel. Now, longtime NFL coach Romeo Crennel is retiring from the Houston Texans at the age of 74. Crennel retires with 5 Super Bowl rings, 2 with the Giants, 3 with the Patriots. He was in different roles for the Patriots, Jets, Browns, Chiefs, and Texans. Wow, what a great career Romeo Crennel has had. At age 74, yes, it's time to retire. It's time to do something more relaxing, less stressful for sure. I don't know. I've never been in the NFL, but I can only imagine the stress level that is put on different coaches, whether it's a defensive coordinator, a head coach, no matter what it is. It could be an advisor. It's still very stressful and very, very long hours. So, Romeo Crennel, I wish you the best in your retirement. Great career in the NFL with these different teams. Like I said, 5 Super Bowl rings, and you absolutely had a tremendous career. Wish you all the best in whatever you decide to do outside of the NFL. All right, let's go to a sad note. I hate bringing these sad notes, and it seems that they're happening more and more. It's frustrating because it's always at such a very, very young age. Marion Barber, former Dallas Cowboys running back Marion Barber, has passed away at the age of 38. Frisco Texan police conducted a welfare check and found Barber dead in his apartment. Cause of death has not yet been known. 38. 38 years of age. Way, way too young. I'm sorry. My heart goes out to the family, to those associated with Marion Barber. It goes out to the Cowboys organization, to the former teammates. It also goes out to anybody that knew him personally. I did not, but that doesn't matter. My heart still goes out to those who knew him, the family, and the entire NFL fraternity. Like I said, cause of death not known, and that's all I can say in that matter. It's very, very sad. Like I mentioned, age 38 to have to endure another loss of a former NFL player at such a very, very young age. It's hard to process at times, don't understand, but it's happening more and more frequently, and that is disturbing and alarming. Marion Barber, may you rest in peace. All right, let's go to Aaron Donald. Now, Aaron Donald, my, oh my, when you win a Super Bowl and, well, let me read it. The LA Rams have restructured Aaron Donald's contract to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. He will get a guaranteed $65 million over the next 2 seasons and $95 million through 2024. In all, Aaron Donald received a $40 million raise. Wow. $40 million raise because you were part of an NFL Super Bowl championship team. Wow. Well, apparently they can afford it because Von Miller moved on to the Buffalo Bills. Is Aaron Donald worth of that? Obviously, the Rams feel he is. But that's one way to keep him on the team, because Donald said that he would only come back to the Rams if Von Miller stayed. Well, Von Miller moved to the Buffalo Bills, as I mentioned. So in order to keep Aaron Donald in L.A., on the Rams, that is, there's 2 teams in L.A., of course. In order to keep Aaron Donald on the Rams, got to sweeten the pot. And boy, did they sweeten the pot. $40 million raise. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But it's only for 2 years. I mean, they only got him for 2 more years. They did not lengthen his contract years-wise. They just lengthened it money-wise. So congratulations to Aaron Donald. Not only are you a Super Bowl champion, you're a very, very wealthy man for sure. Wow. Okay, let's go to Broncos ownership. For the first time since 1984, the Denver Broncos are going to have a new owner. We've all known that. We've known that the Broncos are up for sale. We've known that ever since the trust was basically forced to move on from the Pat Bowlen children. So we all know that it's being sold. Rob Walton is expected to win the bid to purchase the Broncos for roughly $4.5 billion. There is always a chance that a deal like this magnitude could fall through, but it's highly unlikely at this point. The deal hasn't yet been finalized, but the announcement is expected sometime this month of June, 2022. Wow. $4.5 billion. Well, we knew it was going to be close to 4, and most of us thought it would be over 4. Well, that's the number that they've come up with, $4.5 billion. Now, I've said many, many times in my Broncos breakdown shows in the past, I am not in favor of a Rob Walton-owned Broncos team. But I am starting to come around if and only if he sticks to his promises of building a new stadium, a state-of-the-art stadium, hopefully one that is centrally located between downtown Denver and Centennial Airport, which is east of the city. I'm in favor of that. Am I in favor of keeping it where Empower Field is now? right across from downtown, right east of I-25, or excuse me, west of I-25. Am I in favor of that? Not really. Not really. I would like to see a brand new stadium, like I've mentioned, somewhere between downtown and Centennial Airport. Centrally located from the airport, you could build buildings around there. You could build hotels. You could build restaurants. You could build I wouldn't say amusement park or anything like that, but you could build attractions around the brand new stadium. Make it a retractable roof. That way, if there's inclement weather, you close the roof. On a great sunny day, open it up. I'm in favor of that. What bothers me the most, though, is Rob Walton lives in Arkansas. Bentonville, Arkansas is a home of Walmart. Rob Walton is an heir of the Walton family worth $70 billion. My fear and my concern, and I've always stated this over and over and over, is that one day he's going to say, I'd like to have the Broncos move to Arkansas. Well, we'll call them the Bentonville Broncos or the Arkansas Broncos. Doesn't sound right. Does not sit well with me. I don't like it. I want them to stay in Denver. If they do move, hope, heaven forbid, but if that were to happen, yes, I'd still be a Broncos fan because it's still the same players, just a different name in front of the name Broncos. I wouldn't want that. But it looks like Rob Walton is going to win the bid to be the Broncos' new owner. If he keeps his promises to keep the team in Denver, build a new stadium, then I'm in favor of it. But like I've said many, many times, I don't have control over that. I don't have a say in it. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see if he sticks to his promises and what he has said. The other thing is he doing this as a prestige move, or is he really going to have his heart and soul in the Denver Broncos organization, in the players, in the fans, in the city of Denver? Is he going to be a hands-on owner like Pat Bowlen was? Pat Bowlen's heart and soul was with the Denver Broncos. It absolutely was. You cannot walk into Empower Field and walk up those steps and see those horses. Looks like they're galloping up the steps, and all of those statues out front honoring the players, the former players of the Denver Broncos that have made the Broncos who they are. You cannot see you cannot help but see, I should say, the fingerprint, the footsteps of Pat Bowlen and what he did and built for the city of Denver and the Denver Broncos organization. You cannot help but notice the things that Pat Bowlen did for this team, for this organization since 1984. There's even a statue of Pat Bowlen out front. I took a picture standing right next to it. It's impressive. His legacy is impressive. And I don't want that tarnished. I absolutely do not want that tarnished. That would be an absolute slap in the face to Pat Bowlen and what he has meant to the Denver Broncos. I hope Rob Walton recognizes that. I hope Rob Walton realizes the footsteps and the legacy that he is going to take. He has to. He has to know that. If he doesn't, I am going to be one very, very disappointed, sad fan of the Denver Broncos. It cannot happen, Rob. You've got to know and you've got to continue the legacy that the Pat Bowlen family has meant to the city, to the fans, to the players, to the NFL. Pat Bowlen was an absolute what's the word I'm looking for? A statue of a man. Absolutely. In the eyes of the NFL. Rob Walton, do the right thing. If you are truly the next owner of the Denver Broncos, do the right thing. Keep the legacy of Pat Bowlen continuing in the Denver Broncos organization. I'm not saying that you cannot have your own fingerprints on things. I'm not saying that. I'm saying whatever you do, don't ruin the legacy that Pat Bowlen had created, not only with the Denver Broncos, but in the entire NFL. He was an absolute institute of a person, a very, very powerful person in the NFL. Now, I couple that with a story of Peyton Manning. Now, Peyton Manning has been contacted by those wanting to purchase the Denver Broncos, including Rob Walton, to be the face of the franchise. Manning may have interest in joining the Broncos brass, but he also has obligations around the NFL. So these four groups have contacted Peyton Manning to be the face of the organization. That is a very, very smart move. Peyton Manning loves the Denver Broncos. He loves Colorado. He has charities events that he goes to. He is a face of the Denver Broncos already, not officially, but in the things that he does around the city of Denver, for the state of Colorado, for the Denver Broncos. He is a face of the Broncos already. That being said, is he going to be interested in doing that? Because he's also doing that ESPN. It's a spinoff of the ESPN he does with his brother Eli. It's very, very, very entertaining. It's very fun to watch. But that's an obligation that he has already with the NFL and ESPN. So does he give that up, or can he somehow be the face of the Broncos and on ESPN? I'm not sure that would work. I think that might be a conflict of interest. So if Peyton Manning is not the face of the Broncos, who is? Who's going to be the face of the Broncos? Is it going to be John Elway? I don't know. There's a lot of people, including myself, that, as much as I love John Elway, there's a picture, right? Oh, it's back this way. Nope, this way. There it is. Picture of myself and John Elway on my wall. Yes, I love the way he played. I'm a fan of his when he played. And some of the moves he made as GM, I was in favor of. Most recently, I haven't been. And I'm not sure that the fans of the Denver Broncos would welcome a Peyton Manning, would welcome a John Elway as the face of the Broncos. I'd far rather have Peyton Manning. I really would. He's funny. He's very, very quick-witted. His commercials are just incredibly funny. And he, like I mentioned, loves the Denver Broncos and Colorado. John Elway loves the Broncos as well. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying, to me, a Peyton Manning, or I should say the face of the Denver Broncos being a Peyton Manning as opposed to a John Elway, to me makes more sense. Like I said, he's been contacted by those who are in the four different groups to purchase the Broncos. It looks like Rob Walton is the front runner and will be the next Broncos owner. Should Peyton Manning come over to the Broncos in a not a managerial position, but as a face of the Broncos, that to me would speak volumes. Absolutely speak volumes. And he, being Peyton Manning, can speak to Rob Walton as to what the Broncos fans want. The stadium, he can be part of the preparing for building a new stadium. He can put his input into it, just like anybody else could. But to have a Peyton Manning, the face of the Broncos, would be amazing. We got Russell Wilson as a quarterback. He's the franchise quarterback. Peyton Manning was the franchise quarterback for those 4 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and a Super Bowl championship. He can also be the face of the Broncos if he accepts the offer. I hope he does. I'm not sure he will, but I hope he does. All right, let's move on to, this is interesting. And I understand the NFL wants to market its product any way, shape, and form that it can. But this one kind of took me by surprise. All right, listen to this. The NFL in Africa. What? Hang on. Let me read this. The league announced last Tuesday it plans to host a week of activities in Ghana, Africa, starting on June 21st. It will be hosted by former Giants defensive end Ozzy Umenyiora. I'm just going to call him Ozzy because that last name is tough. It will feature flag football for the kids from 10 local schools. The NFL wants to expand. The NFL wants to expand into other countries like it has in England, Germany, and Mexico. Uzi said, "This is truly," and I quote, "this is truly a remarkable initiative. The positive impact of this cannot be overstated." Wow. Well, I welcome that. I think that is great that the NFL is expanding into other countries, giving these kids opportunity to play a sport that they may not even be familiar with. Maybe most of them have never seen an NFL game or even an organized school football game. I believe soccer is the main sport throughout the world other than the United States. And I think it's great that these kids will have a week of flag football and other activities that Ozzy is heading up. I think it's remarkable. There's going to be several other NFL players that are going to be down there with him that have African ties, I should say. I think it's marvelous. I think it's outstanding. The NFL is brilliant in its marketing endeavors. It really is. It absolutely is. Basically, the NFL is 365 days a year. I mean, look at the spinoffs that the NFL has created. It's created the XFL. Well, not created, but the spinoff is the XFL, Arena Football League, Canadian Football League, European League. The NFL markets very, very well. And now, for the first time ever, they're going to be in Africa for a week at Ghana, Africa, for a week with the kids to give them an opportunity to know what playing football is all about. And to do it with flag football is brilliant. You don't want these kids to get hurt, not at all. But to introduce them to the world of football, and who knows, maybe some of these kids will make their way into the NFL someday down the road. I think that's a brilliant, brilliant idea. All right, let's go to preseason schedule. Now, the NFL has released the preseason schedule, and I'm going to give you the one just for the Denver Broncos preseason. Here it is. The Denver Broncos will play the following 3 games. Saturday, August 13th, 6 p.m. Pacific time at home against the Dallas Cowboys. August 20th, Saturday, August 20th, 10 a.m. Pacific time at Buffalo Bills. And then Saturday, August 27th, 6 p.m. Pacific time, home against the Minnesota Vikings. So they have 2 home games in the preseason, the middle one being on the road at Buffalo. Then, of course, they start the regular season at Seattle. So basically, it's home, away for the first 4 games, 3 of them obviously being preseason. So there's the schedule for the preseason. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I don't care if it's preseason or not. I don't care if it's OTAs, preseason, or whatever it is. I can't wait for football and the NFL, especially the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson. It's going to be phenomenal. So First one, August 13th. Cannot wait. All right, guys, that takes me to the very, very last segment, and we all know what that is. This is the Avalanche update, and I'm bringing in my really good friend Jeremy. Jeremy, welcome to the Avalanche update. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Okay, let's start before we get into tonight's game. Let's talk about last Thursday's game. Game 3, Edmonton Oilers at home. Avalanche up 2-0. What was your take on that game?
So we're talking about game 3, right?
Yes.
Sure, another dominance, from the Avalanche. They played the best game that they had played all the playoffs, pretty much. I mean, that was the 4-0 shutout, right?
No, that was 4-2.
Oh, that was 4-2. Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's when Kadri got hurt. That's
what
I was going to bring you in.
So yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. There's been so many games and so many moments. I just lost it. Honestly, trying to gather like my thoughts from that night. I thought it was all going to be good right up until that point. Mm-hmm. I thought here we go. We were clearly the better team. We're going to get out to a hot start, and we did. And right up until Kadri got hurt, and it just seemed to kind of take the sails out of the Avalanche. Even though we did end up winning, there were a lot of shaky things that went on in that game.
What do you think about Kane? I heard today that after that horrendous hit when he drove Kadri into the boards, I heard that all he got was a 1-game suspension. And of course, we'll get into that and we talk about game 4. But to me, that should have been not only a 5-minute major, which it was, but it should have been a game misconduct on top of a suspension. That was a blatant, I don't care about you. This goes back to last year. I'm taking it on you incident.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see it that way. I see it as the fact that, I think because the suspension was assessed after the game. Mm-hmm. So I think what was happening there was I think the league, in my opinion, looked at the series. I think had it been anything but 3-0, the Avalanche had the lead. I think they might have given him more, but I think they knew what they were doing by taking Evander Kane away from that team. You're taking 18 goals away from the Edmonton Oilers. I think they knew they were taking a serious piece out of it. And with Draisaitl being hurt and Smith not being the better goalie, I think they kind of just looked at it and said, yeah, they're kind of toast anyway. Let's just give them a game and the Avalanche will probably win and move on to the Stanley Cup.
Okay. Avalanche win that game 4-2. We go up 3-0. We go in tonight's game. A must win for Edmonton. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They had to come out, and they did come out with guns blazing. What did you see in that first period? We're going to break it down into periods. What did you see in that first period that you felt either Edmonton had the edge or the Avalanche had the edge?
Well, I feel like the Avalanche had the edge going into the first period because they were playing really good defensive hockey. They came out firing on all cylinders. They scored the first goal, which to a lot of Avs fans, they panic. When that happens. Yeah. But like towards the end there, they kind of dwindled a little bit on defense in the first period, but they came out blazing with a hot start. They knew what this game was. They were ready to take on the situation. And I feel like they played absolutely tremendous defensive hockey. I really do. And, they were, like you said, towards the end of the first period, they were kind of giving up the zone here or there. That could be tightened up, but ultimately, I figured, and they were kind of committed a couple of stupid penalties as well. But ultimately, I feel like the Avalanche were the better team, and they knew what they came out the gate pretty hot and knew what they were going to do.
Well, we led 1-0. Then we trailed 2-1. And then soon after that, we trailed 3-1.
Right, in the second period.
What's going on through your head? Because I know what's going through mine. I was saying, okay, we're going back to Colorado for Game 5.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. And
I just think they had lost their way, and I think they got too comfortable at that point. The Avalanche, I don't understand what it is, but when they get like a significant lead or something, they tend to go into the turtle shell and play prevent defense, and they just have this like, I don't know, they have this like attitude about it, like that they could just play keep away hockey, and that's going to be enough to win the game, and it's not. They need to get that mentality out of their locker room, out of their team, out of their facilities completely, because we've seen this time and time again with the Colorado Avalanche throughout the playoffs. They get a lead and they know that they're the better team, and so they kind of just take the other team for granted. It doesn't matter who they are, whether it's St. Louis, Nashville, or Edmonton.
And then I believe it was the second period, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been the third. But the Avalanche are trailing 2-1. They score 4 goals, and then Edmonton scores 1 to make it 5-3. Oh, no, that was the second period. 5-3 going into third. I'm thinking, okay, oh my gosh. We came back and we won this thing. And then, uh-oh.
Yeah, and then obviously, yeah. I think they played a lot better than they did in periods 1 and 2. They came out, they scored a goal pretty much right away, trying to get it close. And then the Oilers scored another goal in retaliation. And I kind of thought at that point, I was like, man, maybe they just don't have it tonight. Maybe they don't, but I don't know what was said to who that got fired up, but somebody lit a fire up under the boys on the bench, because they came back and they scored 2 goals to tie that game by Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon. To tie it up and to send it into overtime. Something happened, but it's insane how that happens. I equate hockey a lot in the sense of that of it's not over until it's over, to that of like a UFC fight. A UFC fight, you can see a guy on the ground and you think the guy on the ground is done because he's just getting pummeled, but if he knows what he's doing, he can reverse right out of it and get right back on. I've seen a lot of guys who have been down on their backs, getting pummeled, come back up and find a way to get out of it and win the fight. So that's a lot what the Avalanche represented tonight.
Absolutely. And before I get into your show, as far as what you do, go ahead and call, because I want people to hear this. Go ahead and call that last goal in overtime for the Avalanche to win it. How did you see that?
Well, it was basically a face-off draw win, and Makar gets it right about at the blue line, lets off a little bit of a clapper, and Lehkonen was right near the goal side on the right side, and knocked it down just enough to stop it just in time, so it hit Mike Smith and went off of him, and Smith slid all the way to one side of the goal, which left basically the puck loose out in front of the net for Lehkonen to get it and just rebound it and put it in for the win.
What was your first thought when you saw that go in?
My first thought was, wow, I can't believe it. They won. And then it wasn't brought to my attention until the broadcast I was watching said that the refs were going to review it, even though the refs did signal a good goal, which I was a little bit confused about what they were looking at. But they did signal a good goal. And I guess what they were trying to review is that to see if Lehkonen got his stick up on the initial knockdown when Makar came through with the shot from the blue line, to see if his stick was too high above his shoulder and above the goalpost. In that case, it would have warranted a high stick. It would have been a no good goal. But thankfully and fortunately for the Avalanche, both the camera angles they had did not show that conclusively. Right. That's what happened, and they called it a good goal, and thus the game ended.
Right. Okay. Avalanche have several days off. We know that because the Eastern Conference is 2-1 in favor of the Rangers. So we know it's going to go at least 2 more games.
Absolutely.
That being said, Are you welcoming this extensive rest, or would you like the Avalanche to keep going on the momentum they have?
Well, given the current injury situation of this team, I think that the rest is needed. You know, Darcy Kemper was still out, even though he was technically on the bench tonight, and he's been skating the last couple of days in practice. We got Burakovsky back tonight. We got Abe Kubel back tonight. But those guys probably weren't 100%, to be completely honest with you. You know, a lot of teams are playing through a lot of things, and we have yet to see what the Rangers or the Lightning, if whoever we face, are going to be playing through. There could be things that happen in that series that could change the tide, and key players could be injured for whichever team moves on. So we have yet to even see that. But I welcome the rest. I mean, the Avs had 8 days off between rounds 1 and 2. You know, so obviously an extended amount of rest really doesn't really phase the Colorado Avalanche so far as we've seen in these playoffs. I know everybody's going to make the counter argument. Well, the Lightning had 11 days off and they went down in their series 2-0. Yeah, but they got a win. So now it's 2-1. So, you know, they could easily go. They're still in Tampa Bay. So for game 4, so they could still easily tie that series back up heading back to New York. So,
sure.
You know, I think the rest is going to work in the Avalanche's favor. It has been all postseason. I do welcome it because I want the Avs as healthy as possibly can be so that we're ready for the Stanley Cup final.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'm assuming that Darcy Kemper will go in game 1 of the Stanley Cup finals. Yeah. That would be amazing because we'll have our number 1 goalie back, but we also know that Francouz can hold his own. He looks shaky tonight at times, I admit. But overall, we know we have a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
absolutely. With that said, I don't care who we face.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know, with Francouz, though, you can't really blame him specifically. The Avalanche D-line gave up the slot quite a bit and left him in some really bad and not only just the Avalanche defense, but the turnovers. There were 2 crucial turnovers in the neutral zone that both led to an odd man rush on the opposite side. And Pavel Francouz can only do so much. You know, when you get 2-on-1, 3-on-1, and you only got 1 defender in front of you, it's hard to see where that puck is going at that right time, and they can just beat you. And the Oilers did.
Speaking on a 3-on-1, I know I gotta cut this here pretty quick. Talking about that 3-on-1 by the Oilers against the Avalanche, and Francouz comes up. I know it was a wide pass, but still, I mean, my goodness, 3-on-1 and they didn't score. That was insane.
Yeah, that was insane. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, there's only so much that you can blame Pavel Francouz because, in my opinion, he made very, very crucial saves down the stretch when the Avalanche really needed it because he was getting peppered. He was getting peppered. You know, the Oilers, I believe, finished with close to 30 to 35 shots on goal. Yep. You know, he's been an absolute monster for the Colorado Avalanche, and he stopped all the crucial shots that needed to be stopped.
Yeah. That I totally agree. I totally agree. Jeremy, before we go out, go ahead and tell us about what you do in broadcasting on YouTube. I want to plug your channel, so go for it.
Yeah, so it's the Case by Case Sports Show here. I do live play-by-play for the Avalanche and the Broncos, and sometimes the Nuggets whenever I get the feeling too. I will, but that's mainly what I do there. So I can't wait for the upcoming Broncos season. I know the Avalanche season has not concluded yet, but you know, it's going to be an exciting time here for those 2 teams, both kind of turning leaves here in different aspects.
Tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube or wherever you broadcast.
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's Case by Case Sports Show. You can search that; it'll be the first thing that'll pop up. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you hear or see. Obviously on Twitter, I'm at Case by Case 21. On Instagram, it's Case by Case Show. So those are my main channels and accounts there.
Guys, watching this, please check in to Case by Case broadcast. I mean, this guy's insane. If you feel like you don't get the details that you need when you listen to a broadcast, you're missing out on Case by Case. I'm just telling you that right now. Jeremy, thanks so much for being on. I appreciate it. Going to have you on again.
Absolutely.
It's my honor. It's been my pleasure. And let's go Avalanche for, wait a minute, here it is, 4 more wins.
4 more wins. Where we, in round 1, we took the Bridgestone Arena as a heirloom. Round 2, we took the St. Louis Arch, and tonight the Colorado Avalanche took Wayne Gretzky's statue back to Colorado with them. We got
right.
1 more heirloom to take, and then we get the Stanley Cup.
And you know what that heirloom is? The Stanley Cup.
That's right.
That's what we're taking back from Tampa Bay or
New York.
Either way. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I absolutely appreciate it. We will talk to you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. on YouTube channel Broncos Breakdown. Till then, have a great week. Bye-bye.
See ya.